Well, most people know Thomas Jefferson as a founding father, signer of the Declaration of Independence and third president of the United States. One of his proudest achievements was establishing the University of Virginia. And it was one of his last great public services. So convinced was he of the value of education, his epitaph reads, "Here was buried Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, of the Statute of Virginia and religious freedoms, and father of the University of Virginia." Now there's a believer in education. Now I'd like to further your education by introducing to you today Don Raimondo, who will moderate the discussion on competitive distribution strategies for a winning future. Don?
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. And it may not look like it, but yes, I am a descendant of Thomas Jefferson. So. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, we've got a very entertaining next 60 minutes for you. We've gathered a very distinguished panel from 4 different specific aspects of the business that are going to discuss what it's going to take to be competitive going forward. Some that need no introduction to the industry. First off, Robin Spitzky, president of Fort Garry Industries, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Kyle Treadway is a principal from Kenworth Sales in West Valley, Utah. Don Nugent, who's the purchasing manager for U.S. Transport Inc. in Denver, Colorado. And finally, John Wenzel, who's the principal in Wenzel's Truck Center, Spring City, Pennsylvania. These folks are here. They spent a lot of time and a lot of effort putting together collections of their knowledge and history on what's happened with their business. They're going to talk about the cultures of their companies and how that culture has helped them survive and grow and flourish in this business. Well, let's see what we've got. This is the purpose we're here. We're going to discuss the ever-changing needs of that commercial vehicle aftermarket, what the requirements are going to be for doing business down in the future, how the distribution strategy and culture will have to change to meet those ever-changing needs. I would tell you that when we built these presentations, we built them to generate dialogue with you, the audience. We have a series of pre-submitted questions that have been sent in, but in all honesty, unless we absolutely have to, we'd prefer not to answer them. We're hoping that we generate enough interest in this dialogue this morning that we can engage you folks in the audience. So when John's done with his presentation, we're going to turn this thing loose. Again, hopefully we've generated enough interest. We really want to answer your questions. All right? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Robin. Thank you for being here, and we'll look forward to your questions in a bit.
Thank you, Don. It's a pleasure to be invited to speak here today. Just going to jump right into it. Start with a little bit of an overview of Fort Garry Industries. Fort Garry Industries was founded in 1919 as a tire repair shop between the streets of Fort and Garry in downtown Winnipeg. Our locations cover the western half of Canada from Toronto to the west coast. We have 16 locations, of which 11 are stores, 7 with service, 2 trailer sales offices, 2 equipment installation facilities, and a brake remanufacturing facility. We also own 50% of CBS Parts, who operate in BC with 5 stores and 1 service shop. This goes to our business segments. We provide service, as I said, in 7 locations. We are a trailer dealer for flat decks, equipment trailers, grain and gravel trailers. We sell and install truck equipment, including gravel and snow and ice control equipment. We remanufacture brake shoes for both truck and transit. And of course, we are a distributor of heavy-duty aftermarket parts. As indicated in the picture on the slide, all of our stores are open warehouse concept, our largest retail space being in Toronto at just under 40,000 square feet. Just to give you a sense of the Canadian market, Fort Garry operates in 4 different time zones. Our closest stores would be about 90 miles apart. Our furthest stores are 2,000 miles apart. 72% of the Canadian population lives within 100 miles of the Canadian-US border, and all of the state of Canada, or all of the population of Canada will fit into the state of California. So when I speak to Fort Garry's approach to the market and distribution, you need to understand that the Canadian market is a little different. Geographically large, and as my father would say, sparsely populated and economically depressed. So how does Fort Garry approach the barren landscape of the Canadian heavy-duty market? That's not unique. We try and follow good business principles, starting with constantly making an investment in our business. Our stores are large, and each of them is its own warehouse. Distribution 101 is inventory. You can't sell what you don't have, and that being said, you have to stay on top of that investment so that you have what will sell. You need a broad coverage of inventory and its ongoing process to monitor and tweak that inventory to ensure that you have the optimal mix to service your customers. And the people who service our customers are key. It's important to make sure they are up on the latest product offerings and tools to locate the part that the customer is looking for. One of the tools Fort Garry uses to manage its inventory and support its team is technology. For the most part, what we sell is not unique. We distribute the same parts as our competition. However, we can differentiate ourselves with technology. By supplying our team with information in the field to quickly locate and respond to customer inquiries, working with our customers and suppliers to use technology to cut costs out of the supply chain, and using information to ensure that our inventory offering is optimized. In addition to our inventory offering and team, we believe our stores are a valuable asset. They showcase our parts offering and provide our people with a positive place to work in. And while it seems pretty basic, it's vitally important to invest in your business. A strong balance sheet is never underrated and is a tangible measurement to outsiders of the value of your business. Strong balance sheet means access to capital to take advantage of growth opportunities as they present themselves. In terms of building a successful model, you hear it all the time, but relationships are key. On the top of the list, you need to have a good relationship with your team. The old adage holds true. If you look after your people, they will look after your business and your customers. As a distributor, positive relationships with our suppliers are important. They are our partners, and we work together with them to try and achieve a common goal. We always try and work with our existing supply base to develop programs and gain business for both parties. And obviously, you need to have a good relationship with your customers. But these relationships need to have depth to be sustainable. When you're talking about national or large regional fleets, it's not enough to have a corporate-to-corporate relationship. That relationship really needs to be at all levels of the supply chain: purchasing, maintenance, management, parts. People always come and go, so it's important to build your relationships with a cross-section of your customer and a cross-section of your own team. And while the next relationship may be painful, it is a necessary evil. You have to have a good relationship with your bank. It's more important than ever if you want to realize growth opportunities in this economy and ensure ongoing viability. The last relationship is highly taken for granted. When things slow down and the need to rationalize expenses, the first thing to go is our participation in industries, groups, and events. And while I understand it's an easy one to pick off, we shouldn't undervalue the relationships that we build with others in our industry. It's been a pleasure to get to know the many personalities of our industry and learn how each of these people will approach similar business challenges. Now, beyond good business practices, we believe that diversification has enhanced Fort Garry's success and ability to weather the downturn. That doesn't mean we go completely off book and start selling portable toilets, although we did have one branch that did that. They sat there for a long time. But look at what your customers are buying and where. It's important for your salespeople to watch for product opportunities. 10 years ago, Fort Garry sold very few batteries. Now you can't walk into one of our stores with finding a skid of them 10 feet from the front counter. Other ways to diversify is with services. Listen to your customers. What are they looking for? It might be as simple as extending your hours of service. And while most of our business is still mostly call-in and delivery, adding walk-in traffic to our stores has provided additional product sales opportunities for less price-sensitive items. My last comment about diversification would be that not all customers are created equal. Recognize the needs of the segment. Are they looking for one-stop shopping, service, inventory management, marketing support, and design your programs on servicing the needs of the segment and understand that not one size fits all. In closing, the topic of the panel and the conference relates to culture. Our culture is definitely focused on growth. No one keeps all the business you have, and so you have to constantly be looking for new business to replace attrition. And furthermore, if you don't concentrate on growth, it's easy to become stagnant and fall behind the curve. Understand and react to local markets. I opened with a snapshot of our vast territory. Each of the markets we operate in is somewhat unique, and our model is to offer our local management the power to react to local market conditions. The next item is vital for long-term success. Know your costs. A strong balance sheet is built on profitability, and to be profitable, you need to earn enough to cover your costs plus. Everyone has obsolete inventory, and there's a cost to carry it, and there's a cost to dispose of it. Everyone has freight costs. Not everything comes to your door prepaid, and it doesn't levitate to your customer's doorstep. So don't ignore your cost of doing business, and make sure whatever pricing model you use adequately covers them. Fort Garry's culture also is very much tied into our own in-house developed software. As a result, we have the luxury of collecting vast amount of information quickly, and we are predisposed to making database decisions. Whoever said computers will get rid of paper needs to visit my office at month end, because there is a huge stack of reports there, but information is key. And now while Fort Garry does a lot of good things, we don't have it all figured out. We're also chasing a better way and open to finding one. Our customers evolve, so must Fort Garry. And we can never lose sight of seeking how to do it better, and never lose sight of seeking a continuous improvement. And in closing, no offense to the panel organizers, but survival is not the goal. The definition of survival is struggling to live. Successful businesses weather the downturn because they are prepared to do so. If you want to be successful, you have to thrive, not simply survive. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Treadway. I'm a dealer principal at Kenworth Sales Company. And I want to say thank you to Don and the staff at HDAW for inviting me here. In some ways, I feel like Daniel in the lion's den, but I'm hoping that this will be a really good, comfortable conversation with some frank and open discussion. So, first of all, Don asked me to tell you a little bit about our company and our business. I am a third-generation dealer principal. Our company was founded in 1945, and we today have 20 locations located in 7 western states. We employ about 650 people. And that's down, of course, because of the recession that we all just went through. We also carry Mitsubishi Fuso in a couple of those locations. We're, of course, authorized to do work on PACCAR products, PACCAR engine, Caterpillar, Cummins, and then also the related products with Eaton, Allison, and Meritor. Of course, as a dealer principal, the variety of services and products that we offer include new and used truck sales, parts, service, finance, lease, and rental. We also are branching into managed maintenance for fleets. We do, of course, body work. We sell a little bit of fuel, and we do a little bit of truck wash work. Now, the segments that we take care of course, being spread across 7 states, are pretty diverse. So it includes regional, national, less-than loads, private carriage, refrigerated, bulk transport. In the last couple of years, we've really beefed up our work with the mining and the oil and gas exploration. They've been saving our bacon the last couple of years. Construction, as you all know, has been suffering. Agriculture held its own. Pickup and delivery, flatbed, lumber, and even some specialized carriage. So you can see quite a cross-section there of markets that we try to take care of. Now, I think what we have gone through as dealers is very similar, exactly the same with what you've gone through in the last couple of years. We're seeing an evolution of our industry. And the last time we went through something like this, it was also imposed by the federal government. It was in 1980 when we deregulated the industry. Like that, today we're seeing a shift, a complete paradigm shift, and it's a combination of things from CSA, determining when and where customers are going to get their work done. Hours of service, meaning that when they get it done, it's even more time critical because it's not just that equipment that's down, it's impacting the ability of that driver to be productive. And then also the fuel economy standards that are going to be coming into play in 2014 and 2017. So we're not done. There's more relentless waves of this federal impact coming on. And so you add to that, what would the customer want, which is, I think, a lot of what we're hearing in the presentations today, that we have to gear our businesses towards the customer's perspective. We have to think about what it is that they want. Why are they going to choose us over somebody else? It's because we understand their business. We communicate with them the way they want to be communicated with, when they want to be communicated to, and how. And then how are we going to transact business with them? The large fleets today, more and more, are telling us how we're going to get purchase authorization from them, how we're going to submit invoices and statements, and how they're going to remit payments. They're dictating those terms. And then, of course, the traditional role that we all feel, that we're a support to their business. Whether trucking is their core competency or it's just a part of their business that's not their mainstay, they look to us to be a consultant and an expert and to explain the confusing variety of all the new technologies and products and services that are out there. Now, in line with that, being a consultant or a partner with them, if you will, what are the fleets asking of us? We're seeing more and more that the large fleets want national pricing and they want central billing. They want a one go-to person or source. They want 24/7 support network, and they want the other value-added services that go with that, be it pickup and delivery or replacement vehicles when they've got one out of service. And then we also are seeing results of surveys where they're suggesting they're going to outsource those functions that they find problematic, whether it's their parts inventory. Would they prefer to convert their own in-house inventory to a consignment relationship? Do they want their maintenance or repair shop taken over and run for them by somebody who knows the efficiencies better than they do? Or short of that, do they want managed maintenance? Somebody who is tracking each and every unit, showing its cost per mile or what have you, cost per life, and giving them feedback and information. It's time to flip this unit, or you need to run this one another year. So they're looking for somebody to lend that expertise. And then mobile maintenance, that's something that you all excel at. Getting out there on the road, greeting them where the problem occurs, whether it's in a remote location or it's going to their location where they don't have an on-site maintenance facility, but it's convenient for them to have it done right there. That's, again, an issue towards productivity, something they're all very keen on. And then, of course, the traditional area of warranty support and advocacy. They look to us as dealers to help them out when there's a conflict with a supplier, where there's a conflict with an OEM. I want to talk, too, just in conclusion here, about the distinctions from a dealer's perspective between an OE dealer and independent and the WD. One of the things that, of course, we have is the obvious branding, that we have that shingle that we hang out on the building, that we put on the post in front of the building, and that attracts the transient customer, the person who is not local but wants to come in and get service done at a familiar place. Dealers, we also, by being a branded facility, are required to offer a full range of services. We don't have the option of customizing and pulling out of areas, segments of the business that are not profitable for us. We just have to supply the full menu. Standards, we have to run our business the way that the manufacturer tells us how to. There are minimum requirements for training, for hours of operation, for areas geographically that we cover, for parts that we will stock, for tools that we will have on site, training that we will pay for. So that's just across the board. You take it as the whole menu. We don't have a choice in that. One advantage we do have, I think, is the network, that if my customer in Utah chooses to take a contract that takes them over to the East Coast, they can go into a Kenworth dealer there and expect to have the same standards of performance and the same consistency and pricing perhaps, or warranty support for even not just the product that I sold them, but the services that I performed. And then, of course, the certifications that are required. Now, you all I see have some distinct advantages over us as well. You are not tied to any specific brand. You can choose and tailor your business to be all makes. You can take all comers, and you don't have to continue to operate a segment of your business that doesn't work for you, that's not profitable in your market. You are much more agile at gearing your business and reacting to market forces than we are. That gives you the ability to react quicker. It gives you the ability to adapt to those customer demands as you see fit. You don't have a partner standing behind you vetoing some decisions that you would like to make. And that, of course, gives you an advantage in terms of cost. The cost to run your business. If you choose not to invest in training or tooling for a new technology until it actually hits a certain critical mass, you get to choose that timing. I don't. And then the niche marking. If you've decided that you're in a market that only services off-road vehicles, you're not going to stock the parts that are going to take care of the refrigerated hauler or maybe the logger. You're going to stock what makes sense for your marketplace. And then, of course, the geography. We are bound by contracts to where we can do business with geographic boundaries. And albeit there are some renegades in our crowd, most of them honor those boundaries. You all don't have those prohibitions. You can stretch your market across 4 time zones if it worked for you. I would love that ability. That would be wonderful. The world is your oyster. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both models. And in fact, one of the things I'm hoping is going to come out in the question and answer session is how we both benefit from each other. Because I certainly know in our marketplace, we need the independent supplier and the WD because we can't do it all. We need you. Thank you.
Before Don gets started, I see so many people standing. There are plenty of chairs up here if you folks would like to sit down, and before he gets going, we can do that. And they're not all the way in the front either, so.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good, good. My name is Don. I'm with U.S. Transport, where we are excellence in bulk. We cover every state west of the Mississippi in bulk transport. We haul dry bulk, non-food grade wet bulk, and just about any other thing that we can get our hands on. We were created in 2004 from several leading bulk transport services and logistics providers. That figure you see there, 250 company trucks, has multiplied by 2 trucks. We just took delivery of 2 brand new Kenworths, and we probably have over 100 owner-operators operating in 5 different states right now. 8 locations based out of Denver. We have 3 locations in Colorado, 2 right now in New Mexico, 1 in Utah, and we're opening up a brand new terminal up in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I think that I'm going to probably be taking the bulk of the questions from you guys, since the way Don words it is, John and I are one of the 2 guys on this panel that throw the boxes away after we get done using the parts. So I'm going to skip by this slide and just go over what I expect from a service provider, parts provider. I use a WD mostly in my area. Although we are predominantly PACCAR, I find it very hard to use the OEs in my area. Number one, because you call into the OE, they are spread so thin nowadays that you sit on hold forever. The WD that I do business with, I generally call right into the counter person and get a hold of that counter person. I told him what I had told Don Raimondo about the 45-second call period. I told those guys, and I said, we got to work on this. We got to get that time frame down a little bit, and they have been diligent, because when I call, they now say, okay, you got 30 seconds to complete this call. So They've been really diligent, very, very helpful. The training, the knowledge base that these guys have is just unbelievable compared to the WD, compared to the OE, I'm sorry. And their delivery is bar none the best in my region. Generally, it is within 45 minutes of the point of ordering. The WD that I do business with in town seems to have it all figured out. The OEs are trying to figure out why this guy is doing so well, and it's painfully obvious to me now, being on the other side of the fence in the buying position, how he does it. Some of my observations, I don't foresee the internet ordering affecting me much in the very near future. I've tried it a couple of times. There's been some snafus both times, and I'd rather build a relationship with the WDs, calling and talking to them. And the best way for the distributors to survive is to listen to what their customers, mainly me, has what to say. It's simple supply and demand and supply. This is what I need today. Make sure you guys have it on the shelf. As far as the white box and the aftermarket stuff, I, like John, try to stay away from that stuff unless we got a unit that we're going to trade with, and just to get it up to snuff and up to trade specifications, we'll put aftermarket parts on it, but we try to stay away from that kind of stuff. And I'll leave it up to John.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay, great. I'm very honored to be here. I'm just have 3 shops in the Philadelphia area. We've worked very hard to, expand our business, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on where I came from and how I've gotten to stand up here in front of all you guys and talk a little bit about my business. So, Wenzel Service Centers started actually in the 80s with my dad and me, and I'll go back a little bit more than that. My grandfather, at about 16, taught me to drive dump truck and kind of progressed into tractor trailer. And I got to be honest, I never thought I'd be in the trucking industry. I kind of didn't necessarily have this burning desire to do this all my life, but come to realize that through time and experiences, this is what I believe I'm supposed to do, and I really enjoy it and very passionate about it. So a little bit of how I got here. In going through high school, I was around trucks, learned, like I said, how to drive them, and basically learned to mechanic a little bit, and then from there, I earned my way through school, mechanicking and driving a little bit, and then from there I got a job working for a trucking company. Skipped for a little bit, then I actually went in business with my dad for about 12 years, and as family businesses go, and I imagine a lot of you guys are a part of family businesses, not the easiest situation sometimes to be in. I had an opportunity to leave to go work for a regional, which became a national company, to become a director of maintenance, and that was a good experience for me. It was a very hard experience leaving the family business, but I learned so many things going to the fleet side. So I tell people I have a unique set of experiences, understanding the fleet side, and then I'm back in the retail side. So worked for that company. I actually worked my way up to be the vice president of transportation, started out as the director of maintenance, and as the slides show, 2005, I reopened the business. My dad had retired and shut it down, and I went back in with a team of people. Some of them had worked for the family business, followed me to the fleet side of it. So in 2005, we reopened, thank God, a little bit before the recession, so And in 2007, we opened our second shop. And just to tell you, when I went back into this, people would ask me, why'd you leave being a vice president of transportation? Wasn't that a great job? It was. I'm still friends with the owner of the company. I just saw a niche market. I saw as a fleet, directing a fleet that, I see where some of the pitfalls of having struggle getting parts and getting more on maintenance side, I would say, especially breakdown towing services. So 2007, we opened our second, and this was something planned. We wanted to open more than one shop in the Philadelphia region. So I'll go back. People, Spring City, we're Spring City. It's outside Valley Forge. We're in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So, and our Westchester shop is now down near the Delaware border. And then this summer, we opened up our third largest shop in Reading. A lot of people know of Reading, Pennsylvania. It's where Penske Leasing's based out of. So it's been a challenge. Things just haven't fallen in place, but we're working the business, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Some of our key things that we want to talk about is we provide professional quality service at a fair price. And what's a fair price? Well, some of that is, we don't look at what Joe down the street is charging. We look at our internal costs. We have a price matrix, and we use them. We look at our mechanics. We look at their sales rates, their efficiencies. We kind of run things by the book. We go out of our way, go out of the ordinary to provide superior service. That's what distinguishes us different than maybe the guy down the street. Our guys care. We're very careful about who we hire and that they fit into our culture of caring about, how the truck gets fixed. We just don't come in and change the oil and put it back out in the street. We're looking at the truck to make sure it's safe. Keeping current with latest technologies, that's probably one of the things that really distinguishes us different than a lot of shops. We kind of operate a little bit closer to an OEM shop like Kyle. We don't hang a shingle out with as a brand name, but we can do everything but do warranty work. We can bring in a 2012 truck and plug in and be able to diagnose it. People ask, how are you able to do that? Some of that, and I'll talk a little bit later about that, is being involved in TMC through ATA, Technology Maintenance Council. I've made a lot of friends and colleagues that I'm able to call, other fleet people that have a couple hundred of a certain make truck. We spend also a lot of time, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in the next slide. We also provide a lot of services, and we also, some of that is reciprocal. In this time of year in the Northeast, we have a lot of fuel trucks, propane trucks, snowplow trucks. So we look forward to that business as spring comes, agriculture, construction business. We look at segments of the business that other people aren't doing well. We've just really pushed into spring repair. We've done alignments for many years, been known for that, and then that kind of progressed into spring. People ask, do you do engine overhauls? We do. How do you do all these services? We hire people who are specialized in those areas, so they we don't have one guy. One of the things we talk about, years ago used to be one or two guys in your shop that could do anything, and that's long gone. We have guys that specialize in certain areas. So, and we do, one of our biggest areas is road service and towing. We've really expanded. That's what's kind of driving our business right now. We consider ourselves a tow company. We consider ourselves a repair company that tows. We really don't do a lot of accident chasing. Police now have recognized that we have certifications. We're good at that. We're being asked to be put on rotations now. So kind of excited about that because people are asking us to do that. So we do on-site repair service. That kind of with a company will call and say, I want you to come down once a week, go through our trucks, make a list, kind of look after them. So we have service trucks. You'll see some of them in the future slide, which is now. Marketing and networking. That's kind of another thing that we do uniquely. I've been asked to speak about this in the past. Well, you know, as truck repair shop, you know, most of the guys traditionally just let business come in, and we actively market ourselves. A lot of you guys are familiar with NTTS breakdown. That's a huge part of how we get road service and breakdown work. There's other ones similar to that. Yellowpages.com, not a big one. Google, a lot of us are familiar. We try to make sure that we have keywords that people can type in that bring them to our company. One of the things, we've developed a website as soon as we opened up, and we're in the midst. I was hoping to have it somewhat done before I came here, but we're in the midst of revamping that so we can provide more service pages so people can see what we offer. Another key thing that Kyle talked about was pickup and delivery. That's been something that I actually learned from the OEMs. From my fleet days, we wanted to buy a certain brand truck, and they were very far away, and the OEM said, we'll pick up and deliver your truck whenever you need service, mostly warranty issues. So brought that in. That's been huge. I mean, we can travel an hour away into another state as long as, you know, take that out of the maintenance person's hands. They don't have to worry about dropping off. I have a lot of retired truck drivers that are just sitting by the phone waiting for me to call. They call in, hey, you have anything for me to do? Because they're retired, but they still have that in their blood. They want to go out and drive. So they're actually some of my best employees, some of my best salespeople, because they're just so committed to, you know, making our business grow. Again, we talked a little bit about our service trucks and tow trucks. We've made them appear different. We've used our service trucks as moving billboards. We're right near the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Just even as the other week, we poll some of the people who break down. Well, how'd you hear about us? Well, the Turnpike guy sees your truck all the time. They can't miss them. They said, call Wenzel's, you know. We're not the only ones that do that kind of repair work. So the other key thing is networking. I'm a member of TMC. Now I'm not a fleet, in the fleet side. We've helped form a service provider committee for guys who are doing OEM and independents like myself to help provide service to national accounts, probably mainly national accounts. Fortunately, I've been with TMC for a long time, so I know a lot of the directors and VPs of maintenance, so they have some respect for me. So when they're in the area, they try to use our services. So involved in PMTA, Pennsylvania Motor Truck Association in the Philadelphia area, you know, cultivated a lot of good friendships and, you know, with people there. Also local chapters, you know, Reading Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, and we use all those kind of things to help bring business in. Talk a little bit about supply chain change, what I've seen since I've reopened. Quality versus pricing has always been in kind of an issue, not an issue, but something that everybody looks at. I kind of fall more on the quality side, maybe because of the fleet. From my fleet experience, I don't want to fix a truck, you know, too many times just because I put a cheaper part on. It's hard sometimes to sell that to a customer. That kind of brings me to the next point, providing more choices. You know, my suppliers have been very good at giving me alternate choices. Doesn't mean they're inferior, they're just alternate choices. So vendors are providing for more superior knowledge and service. One of my main vendors is, well, two of my main vendors are almost an hour, 45 minutes away, and you know, they consciously try to provide good service to us. Doesn't always mean anything about delivery. I mean, that's important, but it has a lot to do with I can call them and find that hard to find part, or they'll go out of their way. I have an OEM dealer who will go right to the CAT distribution center on his way home so I can have that part the next morning so I can get my, my customer up and running. So another thing is we're seeing more training through the manufacturers, which is great. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the next couple slides. And the focus. Years ago, when I was in business with my dad, we were kind of ignored. Independent repair shops were kind of ignored. They're not being ignored. I've seen a conscious effort of manufacturers and suppliers, embracing, our segment of the repair business. The future of the supply chain. I'd like to see, and these are just throwing them out for some discussion, or is development and deployment of online ordering and parts inquiries. And we have an automotive division within each of our shops, and we're able to do a lot more, less calling, a lot more going online, and the part shows up an hour later. Makes it a lot easier to integrate into our software system for accounting purposes. I'd like to see more of that in the future on the truck side. Expanding use of supplier websites. The suppliers have a lot of good websites. I just think a lot of people don't know about them. They need to understand what's there that we can utilize better. Deployment of online training and technical assistance. I'm seeing more and more of that the last couple years, of doing webinars in our parts, in the parts group I buy from. I guess I'm known as the father of the webinar. It's an idea we came up with. It's not intrusive to our mechanics. They can spend an hour online, with a manufacturer kind of keying in to what's important to us at this time, or a new product, or especially like in certain areas. Example, like batteries are starting to go to more of an AGM style battery, and there's a lot of education needs to be done about that. So one that probably no one in the room wants to kind of really hear in some respects, maybe not. We don't want to carry inventory. We can't. Just financially, in this economy, it's just too hard to carry inventory. We do. I'm not against it, but some of my suppliers have made it easier. Some consignment, and I'm not a huge guy. I'm not coming after everybody with a sledgehammer. I want all my parts consignment, but it does help when you have some of that. We have, I have one customer or one supplier that, he'll put clutches in on consignment because he doesn't want to miss that sale. So, and I might not sell one for a couple months, but he's okay with that. So, and then also increased frequency of deliveries. That's a huge thing, because in our business, especially the way we run our business, we want to have our customers have major uptime, getting their trucks back on the road. Expectations, leveraging technology to increase sales. What do I mean by that? Kind of what I talked about. If the more we can have use electronics and technology to order parts, my team and myself can spend more time with customer service, sales, and increasing our business. Also increasing product lines and choices. A couple years ago, I only offered one brand of oil, one kind of oil. Now we offer 3, and some of them are a difference of $1. Doesn't mean it's an inferior product. It's just what the customer wants. He wants a less expensive PM service. So those are ways we can provide it. Same way with drums and brakes. We tend to want to put the best on, but sometimes a customer can't afford that or wants alternatives. We also are looking for more information and samples. I can tell you throughout the year, some of the things I go to, I have access to see some of this stuff. It makes a big difference, some of the new products. So in our parts, some of our parts distributors actually give us free samples through the manufacturer for us to try them. And I would say a lot of times we integrate them into our buying habits. So, and then of course expanding the partnership between the end user and the vendor. I've always been a big proponent of that. I tend to be a very loyal buyer of parts or services, and it's very, very important for our suppliers to make sure that they understand us and our business. So, all right, turn it back over for questions.
Okay, Great job, folks. Thanks again. How about another hand for these people? It's time to turn this over to you. There's been a tremendous amount of information passed on. Hopefully it's spurring some questions in your mind that you'd like to ask these folks. There are folks from AAIA walking around in the audience with microphones up here in the front. I need to take a second. I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity up here to thank Susan Kalish. She's been the liaison with AAIA and all of us, and she's just done a marvelous job. So Susan, thank you wherever you're at. Can you raise your hand? I don't see you. There she is over against the wall. Nice job. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, Chuck.
All right, Don. Hey, thank you. I always knew you were related to Mr. Thomas Jefferson.
No, not many people know that, so don't tell anybody, okay?
I'm a Virginia grad, so it was music to my ears.
There you go.
Here's my question, though. And this is more directed to Robin, since you mentioned it, but anyone can certainly jump in and answer it, is I love what you said about structuring, about focusing on continuous improvement, you know, with your folks. How do you structure that to align with your corporate or company goals so that you will be able to maximize your return on investment for, you know, your training, education, and development?
It's just an ongoing process. You know, we're, as I said, we have a very vast territory, but what we do is have very regular conference calls with our team, and we have people that inside coordinate training and communicate that to the entire group. But it's an ongoing process, and there's no easy way. You just have to, you know, stay on track and communicate, and that's about all you can do. It's but certainly just constant communication with the locations, not only from a corporate standpoint, but between them, so that they know what each other's doing. They can jump on success that one branch might be having with a product line, or that they've done some training and it's worked really well, and communicate that within the group so that the other locations could take advantage of it.
Anybody else? Kyle?
I'm agreeing that our business model is not that different, really. And it is communication. Of course, it has to go both directions. You do need to get feedback from that frontline employee back to you if there's some training that you're missing, or if there's something that's confusing. So it's got to go both directions.
Right. Another question? Right here.
Yeah, I have a question. I guess this is for Don Nugent. I was wondering if you are seeing any feedback with the equipment or the actual quality of OEM versus aftermarket parts, especially with transmissions, as in aftermarket outperforming OEM or vice versa.
Not really. Again, when we have a transmission go down, is that what you're saying, when a tranny goes down and we have to replace it? I'm duty bound to get price quotes from the local rebuilders, the national rebuilders, as well as through Eaton. And we generally go with the Eaton product. We have a very good relationship with the local Eaton rep, the service side rep, and he generally ponies up and makes it worthwhile for us to buy genuine. I hope
John,
that answers your question.
How about from your standpoint? Do you?
Yeah, I found traditionally OEMs were usually a little bit more higher in price, I guess is the best way to put it. So we tend to use remanufacturer transmission. Now some like, let's say automatic for Allison, they're usually a genuine Allison reman company, so there's really you're getting a like and like. But I would say it's kind of rare on our side to actually go back to the dealer and buy another transmission, you know, even as a remand.
Question? Right here.
Website ordering. I guess Don and John both have kind of differing ideas on whether they're useful or not. I guess my question is, John, you said you like using them, but I guess my question is, what type of website ordering system would you prefer? Like one where you can actually shop and look at a part and actually select that part on there. The other types, I think there's two types out there right now. One is where you're just ordering by part number, and not maybe the type that Don is not really comfortable with.
Right.
Is that what you're really looking for?
Yeah, it's kind of a beginning statement in the sense of automotive side. I'll give you an example. You know, we buy a lot from, say, like a CarQuest / Napa because they're close to our area, and you can go on and actually look up the part, click on it, see what their inventory is, and bring it across. I realize it doesn't work 100% in the truck world, but it would be nice to be able to go on and see some of that. Now, I do realize there is some tools that they're starting now that you can actually go on and look up. I think Fleet Cross at one point was allowing you to see dealers in your area that would have a part with that part number. You know, OEM's not really doing that either, but you know, one of the things I'd like to see is, you know, we move towards that you know, leveraging technology. To answer your question, either would work. You know, it'd be nice to be able to order the part, but sometimes I'd like to find out information. You know, is there a competitive part that I can use? In the sense of, I'm thinking like a brake valve. You know, is there something I can upgrade to maybe to help my customer, you know, avoid an issue or something like that? So, you know, I don't have anything locked in that has to be a certain way. I'm just looking to try to leverage. We have the technology. We can do it. It's just a matter of, you know, finding the right platform for it.
Are you currently using the Napa checker?
Yes, we do. We do. And I honestly, I'm not good at it. I'll be the first one to say. I have some guys that from a younger generation that are very good at it. And actually, be honest, I asked them if I need something like, can you look that up? Because we have a very large cross base of business. You know, from a van, a Chevy van, to, you know, who knows, you know, a large crane. You know, so some of that works, and some of those parts will work on a larger vehicle, like a blower relay or something like that. And I don't want to do an advertisement for them, but I've seen Dorman now come out with, you know, like parts like OEM that you can get, you know, which is very interesting to me, you know. And Napa has jumped on that not, I don't think on the heavy duty side, but on the automotive side. And there, I'm not doing it. I don't mean to do a commercial for them or anything like that. I'm just using them as an example. So.
I would tell you that in the pre-submitted side of the questions, this was an area that was of much interest to a lot of people, e-commerce and technology and how technology is going to affect our business going forward. And one of the questions, and I guess I'll look at the two of you on the distribution side of the business, 5 years from now, what's it going to mean to the industry? And is it going to be more on the revenue generating side or on the efficiency side of the equation? Or do you see it really not changing dramatically, especially in light of where we're at today with all the electronic ordering technology? Are we behind as an industry?
Well, I hope it does move forward, because there's definitely an opportunity to remove costs from the system. As much as John likes to call into his local distributor, and we certainly appreciate getting those phone calls, there are some that could be avoided so that our educated and knowledgeable staff have the time to spend with our customers when there's a troubleshooting problem. But if you're simply submitting a list of parts to order because you know what you want to order, to do that electronically, it's much more accurate, it's quicker, it leaves time for our staff to deal with problems. So I would really like to see that move forward, especially from a end user fleet perspective. We've done much more investment between our suppliers and ourselves in terms of that. And I mean, one of the issues is for most fleets, maintenance is not a revenue generating activity. So for them to spend money on technology in that area has been somewhat troublesome. And I would love to see that move forward.
I think from our end, the biggest driver of it is going to be the nature of the workforce. As John mentioned, that the next generation is more inclined to transact on the internet and so forth. I also think that the level of expertise that we're going to have as the experienced guys, the veterans, retire, the new guys coming in, they're not going to have that same depth of knowledge, and they're going to have to rely upon systems that are going to bolster that reliability. So I think that's the biggest factor. I think it's more an efficiency.
Thank you. How about any other questions out there? Right here.
Don, at the fleet level, cost per mile from upstream headquarters I know is a big focus for you guys. Do you ever consider downtime when you're looking at that as opposed to price? So I heard John talk about and heard you talk about a little bit getting better service from your distributor. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of the cost and pay a little bit of a premium for that service?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. Downtime to me doesn't mean a truck being down at our domicile in Denver. A lot of times the downtime, or when a truck goes down, it's in Safford, Arizona, or Las Cruces, New Mexico, where we don't have a lot of, where we don't have a big footprint down there, let's put it that way. So we've got a lot of people that try to take advantage of that fact when we do go down and we start making the phone calls via the NTTS for certain service providers. So definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I can comment on that. I was just part of a committee, a technical committee at TMC in the fall, and that was one of the things we talked about. Fleets are willing to spend more money because they want uptime. You just got to remember, we went through a recession and everybody shrunk their fleets. There are no extra trucks out there. So they want their trucks on the road and they're willing to pay a premium. Go back about 5 years, that wasn't the case. I'll let that truck sit, And some fleets still do that. I have some national accounts that will park trucks during certain times of the year because they don't want to spend the money. But I can tell you for a fact that uptime is one of the biggest concerns of fleets, especially national carriers, to be able to keep those trucks on the road. So be it if it costs more. And that's where we've customized our business to be able to have like a triage bay. We have people dedicated to getting trucks up going every day. That's an unscheduled work for us. We can't count on that, but we have enough of it coming in that when it does, we're up and getting these guys on the road and sourcing the parts as quickly as we can. So
Let's remember, too, that that's going to be compounded even more by CSA and hours of service.
Absolutely.
It's just going to make it even more pronounced that productivity is critical.
Right.
Well, now that you've broken the ice, let's talk a little bit about the government regs. Let's talk about right to repair. And I'm going to look at the two of you guys that throw the box away. If in fact, the right to repair were to pass, what impact's that going to have on the industry as a whole in parts supply?
I've been asked that question before for me because of my fleet, and that's why I intentionally said I have a unique set of experiences. My fleet experiences have allowed me to have a tighter knit or allowed me to reach into the OEMs where a lot of people haven't been able to. For me, it'll give us more information, a little bit more ease, but I guess I've been able to get around it for that, and some things are still proprietary. We ran into a hybrid truck that we knew how to repair it, but we weren't allowed to, because we aren't allowed to have we're not allowed to have the technical information to do that. So, there again, I'm probably only speaking for myself. As an industry, as independents, I think a lot of guys struggle with that. But there are a lot of good systems out there, including Mitchell, that allow you to get access to information. And one of the things I talked about, including the OEMs, there's a lot of good information on their technical sites, and there's a lot of phone numbers you can call, and they're more than willing to help you, with that stuff. So
I found that that's true too. Get a hold of the local warranty reps for whether it be PACCAR, International, Volvo, because we've got them all. And I found that they've been very helpful. Very helpful.
Either of the two of you want to say anything about that or no?
It's controversial, no question. And I cannot speak for the OEMs, but as I understand it, they are not as concerned about it as dealers. I believe, my personal opinion, that the OEMs feel like a lot of that information is already out there on the Service Information Registry. online, but albeit you do have to pay for that information.
Yes.
So in terms of level playing field, you as an independent will be paying the same expenses that we will to gain that information. And then the question is, do you purchase the tools that are expensive? Do you have access to the inventory, the stock, and so forth? So I understand that the OEMs are not that as concerned. As a dealer, I do have concerns that this many years into it, where we have invested, I'd say we've quadrupled our training expense for our technicians and our parts people, and we've tooled up and we've beefed up our inventories. And as we all know, that the market declined the last couple of years, so we didn't populate the field with these trucks that we got all prepared for. So our return on our investment is extended out even further. And then add on top of that the idea that the pool of potential service providers may grow even more, so that extended return on investment is going to get stretched out even further. You as business people understand where I'm going with this. We're concerned about it. But is it as controversial as everybody makes it out to be? Maybe not.
Yeah. I think some of this is driven from the fleet side because of them feeling they don't have information and tooling, and I hear that at TMC somewhat, because they want more information to work on their trucks. But honestly, from my perspective, how many of you guys are seeing independent repair shops popping up? It's pretty rare to see that. So I don't see us as independents, forcing, the OEMs, dealers like Kyle. There's just not as many of us out there, and I don't see that. I don't see that number growing, I guess. So
I guess that's a little bit what you're speaking of, not the independent repair facilities not popping up. I guess that's regional for you, because in our region, every time you turn around, there's another independent popping up, whether he's be mobile service, whether he's got a shop. There are so many of them, and it just has the dealers in the area just scratching their head. How can we compete when we got $125 an hour labor rate, door rate, when this guy's charging $60 an hour? So I would think you guys as parts providers should keep your eyes and ears open to the fact that, especially in my region, I don't know about all your regions, but keep your eyes and ears open for these independent guys that are popping up like wildflowers.
We have anything else in the audience? I'll finish with one last question, and it dovetails right into what you said, and I don't care which one of you decides to answer it, but I'm interested in knowing, can an independent aftermarket provider of parts compete with the dealer long term? Because we're talking 5 to 10 down the road without installing parts. Because I don't know a dealer in North America, or maybe in the world, that doesn't do parts installation of some sort. Can the independent channel be competitive without hanging parts on a vehicle?
I would say yes, because one of my largest independent sources, he does not have a repair facility and doesn't plan on it. Now, some things we've talked about is partnering up. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago about doing DPF cleaning, where he would help. I would do the ground source of that because I have the software to be able to reset, the monitors and things like that, and he would help distribute. That would be a great part. That's going to be, if it happens, it'll be a great partnership. But they're going to have to. He provides a high level of service, so it overcomes some of that. But I would say it's a good question. I think so, but I believe if you would have to get into the higher end of electronic repair, and I'm not sure some of the people are willing to spend that kind of money. I've been asked that question many times. How do I get into that? You start telling them how much it costs and all the training, and it's like, well, I don't know if I want to invest in that. So I would say, yes, I still think there would be a place.
A lot of
Oops, I'm sorry. A lot of the independents in my area, they're looking at machine shop services, which I think is just a stepping stone to vehicle repair. There's been a couple of them already that do drive lines and stuff like that. And I just see that they're taking a step towards outside service work, in-house service work. So that's what I see happening, especially in my region.
I absolutely see a role for the WD in the future. We buy a lot from WDs. We sell a lot to independent service providers. As I said in my presentation, my prepared remarks, there's certain things we cannot do. We need the WDs to help fill out some of those inventory gaps that we can't put into on our shelves, or the over-the-road people that we can't prepare for. I absolutely see a need for them and a growth. And then we have 2 really good WDs in our hometown market, and we need more in some of the other markets that we're in. I wish they would expand and grow and put in some more points.
I'll give you the last word.
Well, as far as providing service, we have stores that have service and ones that don't, and they've been equally successful. So I don't think it's a requirement, but if you don't have service, then you have to have some partnerships with service providers, because you do need to find a way to get it on the vehicle.
How about a hand for these folks? I'd like to personally thank you, taking time out of your schedules, away from your businesses, the effort you've put in. It was phenomenal, so thanks again. We've run over. Thank you for all for being here. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you much.